Hello all. Let's look at some of the tools together that we can use for writing. In particular here we're talking about electronic tools, online tools, and apps for Apple or Android devices. First up, Google Drive. So what is it and how does it help us when we're dealing with things like writing? The answer is Drive helps us to have an online space to save files, access those files, and if there are files that are in a format that Drive can open, it will open them. It will also create them. That's a lot to talk about, and we're not going to go into great detail with this one, but if I go to New and I click Google Doc, then it's going to open a word processor in my browser, in this case Chrome. There I can type, it saves as I go, and it's automatically saved in the drive. What can I do with it? Well, I could go back and I could organize it however I want. In this case, I'm just going to close that. I have what appear to be folders. In reality, they allow me to tag individual files like that one that I just created with things like administrative or classes taken, and they would show up in that folder. But I could have them show up in as many folders as I want, and if I change the file in one place, it's automatically changed in the other. I can also share those files with as many people as I want, and I can have those people be editors or just viewers, or I can have them be able to comment. Lots of possibilities to look into. I'll have other videos that talk about that in more detail. We're talking in particular about the ability to write. So the reality is that in its online form, we can use Google Docs, which is organized by Google Drive, in order to write pretty much anything. If you want it to be super fancy, it will be a little trickier, and if you need to export it in particular as something like a Word document, if it needs to be a certain version, that can get tricky. But you can export as Word documents, you can export as PDFs, very useful. What about mobility? Well, the answer is Google Drive has an app. It has an app for iOS, it has an app for Android, it has an app for Windows, and they allow you to access all of the different files that you have uploaded to Drive or that you have created with Drive. We're going to focus on word processing documents. If we've created a document somewhere else, we can then access it on the go by finding it in Drive. What we can't do with the mobile platforms is edit it within Drive, but we can edit it. We can edit it if we have internet connectivity, and we can edit it even if we don't have internet connectivity, but that uses a second app. Instead of using the Drive app, which allows us to organize our files or find our files, we would then have to have the Google Docs app, which allows us to edit those files. Here you see a couple screenshots, one with a list of different files that have been created. If you look closely, the ones with the little blue dots there were created or have been saved as Google Docs. The one with the W is a Microsoft Word file. If it's still uploaded as a Microsoft Word file, in this case it's a docx, it's not editable, but it's viewable, downloadable, or convertible. And once it's converted as a Google Doc, then it can be edited. Here is pretty much what it looks like if you're using the basic form of Google Docs to type on your mobile device. It's very straightforward. It's very easy to deal with. If you need to do some fancy formatting, you're better off doing it on a computer, but you can get your content out there straight from your mobile device. And if you don't have internet connectivity, you have the option of creating files without the internet connectivity, and you also have the ability to edit files if you've saved them appropriately. So if you suspect that you're not going to have internet connectivity and you know you need to work on some files, you can make sure that they're saved to your local device, and you can go ahead and edit those, and they will synchronize with your online account in your Google Drive as quickly as you get internet connectivity again. What else? Well, we have next up on the list Microsoft Word. Well, we're probably all familiar with Word as a computer program, but we're not really talking about computer programs here. We're talking about online tools and apps. And in this case, I'm saying that there is a Microsoft Word app. See here, Microsoft Word for iPad. It's out there and you can use it, but only if you have a subscription to Microsoft Office 365, and that is not free. The app itself is free, the subscription is not free. Well, what does the subscription cost? Well, here we have Office 365 Personal, Home. If we look at the personal version, that's good for one person. It's about $7 a month or $70 a year, and it gives you access to the Office suite and the online versions of it, and a whole lot of online storage, a whole terabyte of online storage. For some people, that may be worthwhile. My personal opinion is that pretty much everything I need I can get from Google for free right now. So I'm not paying an extra $7 a month or $70 a year. Now, the value of that goes up a little bit if you get the home version. So if I switch here and we look at Office 365 Home, instead of just for one person, you can use up to 5 people, and each person gets a whole terabyte of storage and access to the suite, including the online versions, and that's $10 a month. All right. What about Apple? We've looked at Google, we've looked at Microsoft. Well, Apple's out there too. Apple has as its word processor Pages. Pages works on any of the iOS devices, and it works really well. I have it on my iPad, and I think it's wonderful, but I don't use it that often. I still find myself going back to Google because many of the tools that Apple Pages has are nice, but I'm not making documents that fancy. The ones that you see right here are really beautiful. That's not what I'm after. I'm after fast, easy documents. I'm after getting my content posted, and when I want to sit down on a computer, I can tweak it and make it prettier later. But Pages is somewhat powerful. It can export documents to your Google Drive once you've created them. You can export documents, I'm fairly certain, also as Microsoft Word files, and the cost is only around $10 for the app, and once you have it, and you're good to go from there. So that is a really quick rundown of Google Drive, Google Docs, Microsoft Word, and Apple Pages. One last comment on Apple Pages. What you work on, if you have your settings correct, you can have those files backed up to your iCloud if you're an iOS user, and then you can access them from any of your Apple devices. That's it for the quick rundown of writing with electronic tools and apps. So, go write something.